morning, Hari Om. Hari Om Narayan. Welcome to Gangotri. This is my last day here in 2020. The lockdown started in March, and that's where I got stuck in Rishikesh. And thankfully, I've been staying in Rishikesh and in Uttarakhand from that time on. Recently, me and my friends decided that we'll do Kedarnath. Once we started doing Kedarnath, at Kedarnath, we thought, why not do Badrinath as well? And after we went to Badrinath, we thought, why not do Gangotri as well? And after coming to Gangotri, we spent like around 4 to 5 days over here. A 1 week trip has become a 3 week trip now. I mean, yes, Kedarnath is amazing, beautiful. If you're a religious person, if you're into meditation, you feel so many things over there. And you feel like you are sitting in front of Lord Shiva over there itself, in front of the temple. The journey is amazing as well. Followed by Badrinath. Badrinath is so beautiful. Yeah, Badri Vishal is so amazing. We should definitely go there, especially the Charan Paduka trek and the Nilkant trek. I've done the Charan Paduka trek, and I'll be putting a vlog on that soon. So on Instagram, I had asked my friends in case they have any queries and questions related to the dhams, traveling to the dhams and everything. The first question is, why not Yamunotri? Well, today as I'm recording it, it's already 22nd. Today we travel for the whole day. Tomorrow I will be unpacking things and organizing my data in my laptop and everything. 24th to 30th is like the time I have in Rishikesh. I have some work to be done over there. And then leave on 30th of September or 1st of October. That's my deadline. I have to be back in Mumbai. So I had to unfortunately cancel Yamunotri while I was sitting here and praying here to Gangama and Gangotri. I said sorry to Yamunotri Ma that I can't come over there, unfortunately, because I have less time and I've spent more time over here. And I also wanted to travel less and spend more time. In case I go to Yamunotri, it'll be 2 days of bike trip and then 1 day of staying over there, and that too like just taking 2 hours of darshan or 1 hour of darshan. Here I spent like 5 to 6 days, and we just had like an amazing time. I was attending Aarti here every night and it just felt very blissful. Today morning I came at 6:30 to attend the Aarti and it was like so beautiful. Okay, so I have received a lot of questions regarding the rules and regulations to visit the Char Dhams. First of all, right now it's September 22nd, and if you have to travel to Dhams, I would suggest the best time would be before October 15th. If you can before October ends, because after October 2nd or after October 1st week, the cold starts catching up with these places and it's really cold, it's freezing, it's chilly. All the dhams close after Diwali, but I would suggest not to do it in November. If you can handle cold, you can, but depends on you. I received a lot of questions regarding the documents and the preparations to be here. This is specifically regarding COVID situation. As I speak of 22nd September, you need only 2 things. You need a report of COVID negative test. The second is Yatra e-pass. Have a printed copy ready, so in case you don't get internet, you can always show it on your documents. And mobile phone you can show. We have been showing it on the phone, but 1 or 2 places we had no network, so we had to kind of and we didn't download it as well. The current guidelines, well, you need to kind of keep checking it on the internet as well. Unfortunately, because the rules keep changing a little, they have not changed a lot right now. These 2 reports are necessary. In case there are any changes in the next few days, then you'll have to check it online. I hope I'm audible because there's a lot of gushing sound of the river Bhagirathi over here. So the next question is, how far is the Kedarnath temple from the Kedarnath trek? Well, the Kedarnath trek ends at the Kedarnath temple. The Kedarnath trek is 18 kilometers. It starts from Gaurikund. It goes up to the Kedarnath temple directly. You will find places to stay over there as well. If you go in any kind of vehicle, you have to park your vehicle at Sonprayag, and then from Sonprayag, then you take a local taxi that they have over there. It takes you to Gaurikund in like say 10-15 minutes, and then you start the trek. This is very important to start the trek early in the morning at around 7 or 8 o'clock, because then you can walk at your natural pace. At the same time, you don't want to start walking very fast in the trek, because then you'll lose out on your energy and then you'll be tired and it will be difficult for you to catch up and cover up with the trek later on. The climate changes every time. Carry your raincoat for sure. Carry your warm clothes for sure, because the weather changes. It's raining in 5 minutes and the next 5 minutes it's like harsh sun, and the next 5 minutes it's freezing cold. Everything together, it's a mess of a weather up there. But it's interesting, and that's what makes it beautiful. Carry a bottle of water. Don't throw plastic on the way. Do not try to negotiate with the vendors over there, because I mean, in any of the dhams right now, they have just opened the business right now. They are running in a loss. So I would suggest don't negotiate with them. They are giving a fair price. And when you visit these places, you come to know that everything is shut. Like 5 or 10% businesses are running. So please be sensitive and considerate when you visit these places right now with the people. Everybody suffered, and I believe these people have suffered a little more because they have like no business, and it's harsh to stay over here in this climate. What are the time that the temple opens and closes? Normally 5 or 6 o'clock is when the temple opens, at least at Badrinath, Kedarnath and Gangotri. Right now in this COVID situation, there might be a detailed time, I don't know right now, because it was hard for me to wake up in the morning in the freezing cold out here. Generally it's around 5 6 o'clock the temple opens, and around 6 or 7 the temple closes. At Gangotri the Aarti is at 7 o'clock, and by around 8 o'clock the temple closes. In Kedarnath around 7 o'clock the Aarti starts, and around 7:38 the temple closes. Badrinath, I guess 6 o'clock. I think the Aarti happens at 6:30 when they give vogue to Badri Vishal ji. You can have access to go inside, but generally around 7 to 8 o'clock the temple closes. Staying facilities in Gangotri, very less staying facilities over here right now. Every day some more of the hotel is opening up, so you do have stay options over here. But I would suggest come down to Gangotri, have a extra time of 1 or 2 hours, just walk around places, see options with your own eyes, which one is good, and then you can stay according to your budget. We are staying at GMVN, that is Gadwal Mandal Vikas Nigam. GMVN accommodations are always the best option to stay, but also they are a little, I'll not say expensive, but they are rightly priced, I would say. But right now it might become a little expensive, or you might find a little cheaper options than GMVN for sure. There are other few options, you can always check. It's a very small place for you to walk around and check the places. You can always ask some locals over here. Stay options in Kedarnath, in Badrinath, in Gangotri, and I'm sure at Yamunotri as well there are many stay options. Well, there was a question that how many days do we need to do the dhams? I would suggest when you add the maps, have like 4 to 5 extra hours in your hands, because you're stopping to have food, then you're stopping with the cutting of the roads in the mountains. There's a lot of construction work going on right now. And with the dhams, Gangotri and Badrinath are like places that you have direct access to, as in terms of you just have to park your car and you can visit the temple. But when it comes to Kedarnath, Kedarnath has like a day's trek. You can go early morning and you can come down by the night in case you are very fit, if you're like an athlete person. But I would suggest Kedarnath would need at least like 2 days just to go up and come down, and Yamunotri it's like a 4 to 5 hours trek. So again that will need like a day. I would suggest at least staying for 2 days minimum at each dhams. Say Kedarnath, you definitely need minimum 2 days to talk to the sadhus over there, talk to the locals, experience the place, go to the Bhairanath temple up there, experience the sunsets, experience the sunrises over there. The places are beautiful, and minimum is 2 days. I would suggest that you should stay over there, and if you can stay for more, that will be amazing, because believe me, these places are amazing. If you're a nature lover, if you're a trekker, if you're more of a Himalaya person, if you're a very religious person, if you're a very spiritual person, if you just want to find answers to your, if you just want to like find answers to your life, and a lot many things, these places are just amazing. I would heavily recommend to come down here for sure. Well, the next question is, I'm interested in spirituality, but I don't know where and how to start. What shall I read, watch, what to do? Well, I would suggest that the greatest philosophy out there, or the book to read on spirituality, would be Bhagavad Gita itself. Bhagavad Gita by Gita Press Gorpur Publications, or Bhagavad Gita by Bhakti Vedanta Publications. That is Hare Krishna Publications. So if you have to start reading Bhagavad Gita, and I think that's the end as well. Every time you would read Bhagavad Gita, you'll find new answers to your questions, and it's Nitya Naveen. Nitya Naveen, it's always brand new. Every time you will open a Bhagavad Gita, you will find brand new answers to your questions, and it will guide you. I don't know, in case you can get a copy of Srimad Dasbodh in English or Hindi. I would suggest, I guess you will find it in Hindi, but I don't know in case you can find it in English. But in case you can find a copy of Srimad Dasbodh written by Santa Ramdas Swami himself, I would suggest these are like the 2 best granth or books or philosophies or whatever you call it that you would want to read. Especially Dasbodh, Santa Ramdas ji has his own flavor added to the granth, and it's just beautiful. Read more about the 3 gunas, that is Sattva Guna, Raja Guna and Tama Guna. These are the 3 properties that are inside your body as well, and the whole universe as well. These 3 gunas, if you understand these 3 gunas, if you read these 3 properties, I guess you are good to go. you'll have a good foundation. And if you want to read more, I would suggest Swami Sivananda publications, or his books are the best to read. Or you can read Swami Vivekanand. Swami Vivekanand's story is amazing. You should definitely read his books. I personally believe reading Granths that were written by our saints are the best ones, because they had achieved enlightenment. Any modern author today writing about spirituality, I believe, has not achieved any enlightenment. So he writing on something of this sort, I guess, doesn't stand the authentication, at least from my point of view. Our saints were scientists, and they had literally studied the quantum science that the scientists are discovering right now. But our saints have discovered the science like thousands of years back, and I would suggest just read materials by saints, and that's all you need. There is this very interesting question asking what is the best time to visit Uttarakhand. The best time to visit Uttarakhand is throughout the year. Anytime you come down to Uttarakhand, it's always beautiful. It's always warm and welcoming. The people are beautiful. The people are very very humble and polite. But I would say if you can come down here in anytime between Feb or March to May or June, that's a good time to be over here. Otherwise, the summer, I experienced the summer over here. It's very harsh. Believe me, you don't want to experience the summer over here. I think that starts around May, June to June, July. Definitely avoid it if you can. After that, the monsoons are very beautiful. It rains heavily over here. In case you want to experience the monsoon, this is the best place to be. September, I guess. September right now, it's a good time to be. September and October. By October, it's a little cold, and by November it's freezing, and then by December, I guess, there are places where it snows, and by Jan and Feb there are places covered in snow. So depends when you want to come and what kind of experience you want to have. But regardless, whenever you come down, please come down for a longer duration, because you need to experience the place. Avoid hopping from one place to the other. Stay at one or two places, but stay for a longer time. Spend time talking to locals, knowing how their life is over here throughout the season. Personally, I suggest, in case you can come down alone, that's like always better, because then you interact more with the environment. Than in case you are in a group, you end up just talking to each other, and then you cannot customize your own plans as well. Traveling alone is like the best, but again, if you have good company, come here, choose less locations, but stay for a longer time. That's the best advice I can give you than telling you when to come. By the way, so excited for the vlog, because I have shot the vlogs this time in a very different way. They are very minimalistic, less jazzy editing that I normally anyways avoid. So yeah, I think this time the vlogs will be quite interesting, and I believe it's a little upgrade, because I also have been shooting with my wonderful USR camera with C-Log on my 35mm. I didn't have a wider angle lens. The widest I have is 35mm. So all I have used is like 35mm and 85mm for my vlogs. That's what makes it more special, that I have shot all my vlogs on a 35mm, on a prime, in C-Log, on a full frame. And because I'm carrying my professional camera, which is my bread and butter, I have to be like very careful, and still I've managed to do my vlogs. And let me show you the condition of my GorillaPod right now. I've lost like half a leg out of the 3 legs for my GorillaPod. The next question is going through those high roads on mountains scary and dangerous? Dangerous at some points, yes, if you don't take care of the guidelines that have been provided to you. Avoid when people tell you on the road, when there's cutting happening of the roads, if they tell you don't go ahead because there are rocks falling down, just avoid. We had instances where we were asked to stop, and there were like rocks falling down in front of us, a part of a mountain coming down in front of us. So believe me, you don't want to get involved in that catastrophe. Just be careful. Scary it is not. Be in good health, have a good lifestyle, give importance to your sleep, sleep well enough in the night, and keep drinking water, have healthy food, avoid snacking around, avoid Lays and Cheetos and all those snacks. Eat more dry fruits and all the snacks. I guess that's better. Eat healthy food over here. I would suggest avoid smoking, because as you climb up in the mountains, you need healthier lungs. Are all people there religious and spiritual? How are they in behavior? I believe people become a mirror when you're traveling. People here are definitely very polite, very warm and welcoming. But at the same time, if you're being a jerk, and if you have a very rough tone to talk, or if you're condescending to the people over here when you're talking, or if you're not negotiating properly, or if you're just not polite, definitely they'll not be polite to you as well. They will be a little reserved. But if you open up to them and just be very humble and polite with them, I guess those will be like the best people that you will meet, believe me. And if you're going to sadhus and if you're going to ashram, please be very mindful of your behavior. If they serve you food, don't ask for multiple servings because that's an ashram and they have limited supplies. When you're meeting a sadhu, ask them in case you can talk to them first. If you want to take a picture or a video, ask them first. Try to interact with them before you take any pictures or photos or videos, because that's how you should do it. Otherwise you are just making people feel awkward, be it a sadhu or be it a local. Next question is, if you could sum up this trip in one word, what would it be? That's a very difficult question for me, because I guess the feeling has been very abstract for me to experience this place. If I have to describe one word for this trip, it's affection. Affection by Ganga Maya at Gangotri, affection by Lord Shiva at Kedarnath, affection by Lord Vishnu at Badrinath. If you are able to experience their affection and understand that it's them who are calling you, and then they are the one who are laying down the possibilities and the path, right from the finances to the transport to your company to come over here, I guess that's when you realize that it's affection of all these places and their lords and goddesses who have called you over here. Somebody has mentioned here that I want to join you on this journey, selling my flat and heading there right away. Well, please don't sell off your flat right now in this COVID situation, because yeah, you need property, you need money, you need assets right now, so please don't sell it off. Yeah, whenever you can come down over here, definitely you should come down. The next question is how to travel cheap and make a living, basically how to live like you do. Well, honestly, I'm not making a living out of traveling, in case that's how it looks like, because I have my wedding photography business as a major part of the money coming in and to take care of my finances and my travel. Followed by, I work with a lot of brands and I work with a lot of YouTubers, I work with a lot of influencers, bloggers, and that's how I earn my living. I'm not earning a living by traveling for sure, because many people think that I travel a lot and I earn a living from my travel, but that's not the case. Please make a video on this, how to go, where to stay, cost, expenses, everything. If you're traveling to the dhams right now, stay options would be anywhere from 400 or even 300 to 1000, 2000 for a good place to stay. And followed by the food, usually I would suggest having a thali, veg thali over here works the best. That's for 150 rupees. At places you get multiple servings and you get a variety of food, as compared to if you customize and just order a vegetable or things separately, it costs you more. So 150 rupees per meal is the cost that you'll have for the meals. The travel depends on how you're traveling and all those things. Something that I can't tell you, but what I understand is the local taxi rates have doubled with the COVID situation. Otherwise, it's fairly cheap right now. Can you post some pics and videos of puja ceremony? You're not allowed to get the camera inside the temple area, but at the same time, I've shot a beautiful aarti which is like 8 minutes long in Bhairav temple. Prakash Bhatt Babaji let me shoot that, and it's wonderful. Believe me, I think it's one of the best videos I've shot, as in terms of the ambience was so beautiful and the aarti was so organic, with the drum roos and everything. I'm putting that. Maybe I'll put a teaser over here right now. Yeah, so that's what is coming up. I hope you enjoyed it, and believe me, the videos are going to be very interesting, the vlogs that are coming up. One more question that was asked was, is it possible to do Kedarnath without trekking? Well, no, but at the same time you get horses to ride on. There used to be this palki kind of things as well, but in case you don't want to trek to Kedarnath temple, you can always get a horse, and there are good options. There are horses right now as well. Yeah, so I think you can be riding a horse and then enjoy the views and snack your way up to Kedarnath. But I personally feel if you don't have any physical limitations, if you're a young and healthy person, I would suggest do the trek, because it's a yatra, and when you do the trek, you get a different reward out of it. So I would suggest it. And if you're afraid that you can't do the 18-kilometer trek in one go, there are places where you can stay on the way. There are small tents and small places where you can stay and then continue your trek. I have also been asked about if there is any special day to visit these temples or these dhams. Well, there are some auspicious days, yes, I would not get into that, but what I would suggest you is, when you go to the temple, spend more time at the temple, in the premises, attend the aartis, try to sink into the place, Try to do chanting and stotra chanting. Get up early in the morning in case you can experience these places early in the morning. Nothing like that. Talk to the sadhus and the saints around, the priests around, and you will get more information about these places. There is so much to sink in, there is so much of information, there is so much of wisdom and knowledge to be had from these places. So I hope I answered all your queries and questions regarding your travel to all the four dhams, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Yamunotri and Gangotri. Please be safe when you travel, please take care, and I wish you a very good trip and a good stay over here.